Hi, you guys. Welcome back. This is Richard Sachs. I'm your host on Lost Arts Radio. And this is that special additional non-Lost Arts Radio Live version, the Safe Stream version, where we do our best to keep it completely, how would you say it, acceptable to the powers that are taking care of us all the time. And so that nobody could possibly be offended. Nothing we say could possibly be misconstrued, and we have the utmost worshipful respect for both terms of service and community guidelines, both, not just one. And some people, though, are really slow learning how to be safe and good and true. And apparently we weren't good enough. So we're back being punished again right now, and I want to be extremely careful that we respect that and show that we're reformed. And we only have, I think, about 2 months or something like that to make sure that we're not, off track or saying anything unapproved, because that would show that we're thinking things that are unapproved, and that would be just really, forget it. That would be terrible for everybody. So the regular Lost Arts Radio Live show, we checked over it for today. It's completely unacceptable as usual. So we're saving you from that. And instead of that, because what that one was about, they had some really inspiring people that turned out to be evil. And if I mention their names, that could be very bad in terms of us disappearing permanently. So I won't do that. But I'll say it was a man, a very nice German man who happens to be an attorney, who's a very amazing person who I can't tell you about because, for obvious reasons. And a whole bunch of other individual people that weren't even attorneys or doctors or anything, just regular old people. And they got together, I think it was in England. I can say England without being offensive, I hope. And they were watching this nice man who was a German attorney on a live stream screen, a big screen that was there for their get together in England. And of course, we know they were all really bad because, you can't just get together. Everybody could die from that. So what you have to do, instead of following your human instincts, which, we've all fallen for so much, we didn't realize that if we want the world to survive, we have to trust the science. And in the old days, when they had superstition, instead of real science, they used to think that science was questioning everything, that there was no ego involved, no authorities involved. You didn't have to have, peer-reviewed committees protecting you from thinking anything unapproved. Now we're safe, because if somebody comes up and they think they're a scientist and they have some kind of breakthrough discovery that contradicts what's acceptable, then we'll be saved from hearing from them by the peer-reviewed committees, and they're working really well. And in fact, I've talked from my function within the academic world that I'm still involved in. I talked off record to some owners of journals, and I said, if I had a means of curing some impossible, incurable disease, officially incurable, without poisonous chemicals, but those are also known as medicines, you might have heard of them, or without slicing the body up or removing organs or things like that, and nothing else was needed, and it was inexpensive and completely safe, would you put an article about that in your journal? And they said, of course not. Now, this is off the record, because they didn't want to say, be exposed to the general public about what they're doing. But they said, no, that would upset our sponsors. That would upset the science community. and it would upset the academic world. So if you have something that you want to put in the journal and it says how wonderful a certain drug is that only costs, I don't know, $10,000 a week or something like that, but it's really free because your insurance pays for it, we'll run that. But officially, we never said this, and it was all off record. So I said, that's really interesting. So real science now is whatever we're told is acceptable by the agencies that we all know would never tell anything untrue and are completely trustable. So in order to be acceptable and show that we understand that, it's very important that people understand the current little health situation we've got around the world is much more serious than it looks. And in fact, if you can control it, help get it under control by giving up all your freedoms, you should instantly do that. And that's real science that you should trust. And these conspiracy people running around talking about free speech and positive nationalism, in other words, making their own countries great places to live, those are people you should never listen to because they contradict the science. And the science says obey and give up rights, give up your property. And fortunately, the science and global community have decided that there is a way to give up your rights and your property and stay extremely happy. And it's coming as it's been announced globally. I don't know if I can mention the name of it, but I'm sure you know what the name of it is. It's something great. And once you have it, they know that they feel incredible empathy for you because if you're like most people, you're in debt, you probably lost your job, and inflation is just starting because of all the money printing and things like that. And so they really care about you and they want you to be happy anyway because they're planning to start more of the same thing probably this week. And so the few remaining businesses that are surviving and are not listening to the science by staying open, when those are destroyed and closed, I mean kept safe and protected, then all of the people that are employed by those businesses and that go to those businesses as customers, they may be completely devastated, but that's for our protection. And that when they take away all of the property and we still have this problem of debt, they now have a solution for that too. And that is that they'll take away all of our debt, and it's just that we can't ever own property again, but we're guaranteed to have everything that we need rented because we'll have guaranteed money without working. And the best part is that we're guaranteed to be happy. And if we're not happy, there are chemical solutions for that. So that's the safe understanding of what I would have said if this is the normal show. So to protect you from seeing the normal show where we decode what I just said, make sure that the link that we warned you about, which is right below this video, that you make sure to tell everybody never to go there. And that will really help the safety of the world. Because what we're hoping is that there will be enough injected medical treatments and even old-fashioned poisons that you can take as a pill. I mean, medicines, not poisons, sorry. And that we'll get to the place where there's no more destructive free enterprise or freedom of speech or anything that is described as freedoms or rights. I mean, those are, as some of the famous leaders in this country have said, I can't really mention who he is, but a guy that you know, a famous movie-related person, said, is capitalism. The problem is free enterprise capitalism. If everything is controlled for your safety, then there can't be any problems. And if you think there are, you just need to take more of your medicine and then you won't realize that anymore. So we are headed in the direction of global happiness guaranteed. And anybody who's not happy will be dealt with so that they will be happy. And I mean, there's really nothing else to do at that point. And nobody will be burdened with private property anymore. In fact, parents won't be burdened with having to take care of their children anymore. School will become 24 hours a day, and the kids will live in a place that's safest for them, and the parents will be in a place where they can absorb real science 24 hours a day. So things are definitely getting better. And to make sure that you don't get upset by looking at the unsafe version of Lost Arts Radio Live, make sure you don't look at the link that's posted below the video. And as long as you don't and tell everybody else not to, then we should be fine. And I think I covered everything about real science. One of the things I've probably mentioned before that I was told in a health science PhD class is if you want to be a real scientist, make sure that you take two first steps, and that is that you should have no opinion and no emotion. So it takes time to work on that. That's why people have to spend so long in medical and PhD in health science school, because those opinions keep holding on and they have to be corrected, and emotions keep holding on. You know, how can you be a doctor or a scientist if you have any emotion about anything? Those are not even peer reviewed. So you can take an example from these higher level human beings of scientists and doctors and highly educated health authorities, that they don't have any opinions or any emotions. And if they're doing something, it's only for our protection. So just wanted to be clear on that. An example of science, real science, instead of questioning whether things are true or not, which is too dangerous, you just remember whatever the treatment is, safe and effective, safe and effective. And you can start out by saying that maybe 10 times at a time. You won't be able to catch up to real doctors that way, but you'll be able to be an educated consumer. And if somebody says, look at the ingredients and see if they're good for you, you just remember that health official in New York who reasonably said, I'm not going to ask what the ingredients are. I'm not going to look up the ingredients to see if they're safe. I'm not going to look around and see what happened to other people that took them. I'm just going to trust the science. And she was talking about a breakthrough, wonderful, highly toxic, but very effective cancer treatment. And she said, I'm just going to put my arm out and I'm going to take the infusion. She called it an infusion. And actually for cancer, it is an infusion. That's the most advanced treatment that I think that we know of. And the fact that, you know, the conspiracy theorists point out that it kills most of the patients, that's not science. Science is memorizing safe and effective, safe and effective. So whatever the authorities tell you to do, if you've been practicing saying safe and effective all the time, then you won't have the emotional stress of wondering if it's going to be fatal or merely injure you or something like that. It's very stressful to even think about those things. So the best way around it is just to memorize safe and effective, safe and effective. And see, it's really easy to say it like 10 times in a row. And when you get more scientific, you can say it 100 times in a row and you won't even be tired. So if you just take that little bit of knowledge and build on it, you'll be safe and effective in the rest of your life. And even if you die for the common good, it's still safe and effective, especially since it's for the common good. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope the platform is very appreciative. We only have, I think, 2 more months to make sure that we've learned how to be obedient and, of course, safe and effective in sharing all the real information with you without saying anything that is unapproved. So anyway, I hope you got a lot out of that, and will remember to tell everybody to beware of the link below the video. We're trying to keep our show safe and effective so that we don't lose contact with you. And if you go to lostartsradio.com, which is the main website, it'll show all the unapproved locations where we're still located. and you can catch up on the rest if you want to see what, the unapproved, unscientific bad people are thinking. And you just do that at your own risk. And if it's too stressful, just come back to the SafeStream version and repeat what you're working on, safe and effective, and you'll realize as you keep saying that, especially after 100 times, you start getting more relaxed and say, wow, it's so much less stressful not to question anything and just to believe authorities no matter what they say or what happens to you. So I think that's enough to prove that we're really learning our lesson on the platform, and we can be set free in the very near future. So thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. And stay in touch, lostartsradio.com. We value your feedback and hope you have a good rest of the weekend. Take it easy, and we'll meet you here next week. And hopefully we'll not see you on the unapproved channels, which you can be warned against by looking at lostartsradio.com. Talk to you soon.